What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Marriage Unmastered. This is me, your boy Hen, and I'm here with the lovely Shireal.
Hey, what's going on?
Y'all, we are so glad to be back to y'all again, celebrating with y'all with our 10-year recap of our marriage. It'll be 10 years, this October, right?
You tell me, Henry.
Oh my gosh, you know it. You know it is.
So do you. So why you asking me?
Wow, your energy is crazy already. Like,
Okay.
that's how we starting? That's fine.
Okay.
So, last episode, y'all, it was year 3 of our marriage, and so instead of going to year 4, we got to go to like 3.5 because of what happens. So, will we end off with the birth of Jay, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's why I think so. Just to be really clear, our kids are not a year apart, which is why we are not really in year 4 yet. It's more like 3.5, 3.5 really. So I don't even know. It's just not. It's not totally year 4 yet though, because Harley was born before year 4.
Mm.
So literally, when Jay turned 4 months, I had realized I hadn't had my cycle in a couple of months. That's really sad to say out loud
Why is it sad to say out loud?
because he was 4 months and I hadn't had my cycle in a couple months, which means I was already pregnant.
I mean, okay, so to be clear, like Sherelle says, we followed the doctor's orders, I think, to the T.
To this, yes, to the day, 6 weeks. We waited 6 weeks.
N- No, you didn't wait 6 weeks.
We waited.
I waited 6 weeks. I was waiting patiently, faithfully, hopefully.
Awesome for you.
Yeah.
Either way, 6 weeks went by and we did not have sexual relations.
You sound like Bill Clinton. I
We
did not have sexual relations with
did
that woman.
not. And so, literally, but it was funny because 6 weeks landed like on Henry's birthday. It was like
Yeah, like around that
right
time.
around his birthday. So, I believe that was the night of the incident.
Incident? Wow. Why would you call it an incident?
Because that is exactly what it was.
That was not an incident.
It wasn't a planned, like,
No,
moment.
that's not true. We planned for Harley. We didn't plan to have her this fast.
Okay, that is an accurate statement. We didn't plan to have her within the first 6 weeks of just having a baby.
But it okay, but it ain't an incident.
It
Like,
was an incident. The plan for her was supposed to happen maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, not 11 months.
no, I think it happened at the right time. To be, if
Well,
we being
saying that
honest,
now, but for the person who didn't have to carry it and go through the pregnancy, it's very easy for you to say.
I didn't. You right. I didn't have to carry the baby. I didn't have to carry the pregnancy, but I carry us as a family, and I was here too, going through it with you.
Actually, you weren't really there when I was pregnant with Harley.
Meaning, I'm present.
You weren't very present. You were actually very absent during that time, which really leads us into this next episode. So, this was a very difficult year for us. The year I was pregnant with Harley, and we had a newborn, which was our
Mhm.
son. Henry was,
And we had
and I want to be clear, he wasn't being a bad husband. He was just absent. He was working. He had a job that kept him away all the time. Like literally like overnight, wouldn't get home to the next day. Sometimes would be gone for days at a time. Like, and it was just not conducive to what I needed at the time.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
So
For,
it wound up being really bad for us.
yeah, it was tough. Me me thinking that being at work is helping, but it was hurting in a sense. And some things that I couldn't, like when you work in the prison system or the jail system, They have sometimes what you call like mandations and mandatory overtime because people call out, they walk off the job. And so it was real stressful at that time because we was every day, if not every day we worked, every other day we was getting mandated. Or we had to work a double before so we wouldn't get mandated into the next shift, which was crazy. But needless to say, that jail was going through a whole type of thing with the state. So it was just a mess. And it
So,
spilled over into um our
yes,
marriage.
it definitely did. It spilled over in a big way. And especially because, so if you remember, my son's pregnancy was like easy breezy. Also, Henry had a different job. So the job he was working when we were pregnant with our son, it was like perfect. Like his hours were perfect. Like he was able to be there. It was like two totally different jobs. He had
Hmm.
gotten a different job by the time we had Harley. And when I was pregnant with Harley, I didn't have an easy pregnancy. There were a lot of complications. I had to be on bed rest for 6 months. I got gestational diabetes. I was constantly at the doctor in the hospital. It wasn't the same pregnancy. And so with that, all the stress of that, and I had a newborn. So I was doing all of that pretty much on my own. And then to add to that, I had got a really, really bad like diagnosis of anxiety. And literally, like, so we were living in an apartment at the time, and I think we were on the third floor, second or third, I don't know. We were in a building, and I couldn't stay in the apartment by myself. I used to feel like the walls were gonna collapse. Like I would be like smothered in the building, like buried in the under the bricks, and nobody would find me, and me and my baby would be buried. It was like really, really bad anxiety.
And we had the dog. Didn't we have Bear too?
And we had a dog, so I was taking care of my newborn, my dog, and myself with extreme anxiety. And Henry was never there. He was not. He was always at work. So it was a very difficult time, and that weighed hard on our marriage.
Hmm. Yeah, like really hard. Hard to the point where we had to go through. We decided to go through counseling
Hmm.
to help us work through the issues and that we were going through at the time.
But the way we even got to counseling, it had gotten so bad that Henry had came home, and I was like, "I'm gonna need you to go like stay with your mom. Like, I need you to not live here."
No, 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 no. That's not what you said. I believe I remember you said you want to get separated,
Mm.
and I was like, and so when she said that, it threw me off. Like I was like, what? Separated? What are you talking about? So from my perspective, right at that time, I'm thinking a man is supposed to work, take care of the house, do what he can financially and stuff like that, and be there for his family. By me just that having that one sided view of just working, like that wasn't all that she needed me to do at that time. And so I'm like, when she opened up, like, hey, do you want to get separated? Because I can do all of this by myself. It got to the point like, I don't need you, Henry. And so I really had to think, like, take a moment and think, like, dang,
But I
this
didn't,
is.
but that's not what I said. It wasn't that I didn't need you. So here's the thing, I was under very high stress. And so at that point, I was doing everything on my own. And to me, like, it was more stressful for me thinking, so his shift was crazy too. He worked from like 2 to 11, I think it was. And so at around 11:30, 11:45, I would be expecting him to come home to kind of relieve me a little bit of like staying up all night with the baby and bottles and me having to take insulin 4 days, 4 times a night. Like, so I would be expecting him to get home to kind of like relieve me a little bit at a certain time. But every night I was getting a phone call. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to come home tonight.
Yeah, that joint was
So it would be
crazy.
like, okay, here I go again. Like, have it was just like I would prefer in my mind to mentally prepare myself. Like, okay, he's just never gonna be here. Instead of me like anticipating him to come home and then I get the phone call. And this was
Mm,
happening literally like every day, and that was adding stress. So to me, it was like you could just not be here, and then I could mentally prepare myself for having to do this myself. It's not that I didn't need him. It's I needed him, but he wasn't there. So okay, let me fix my mind to know I'm not going to have that support.
yeah.
So
Dang.
the answer to that for me was you need to leave.
That's a whole episode in itself. You need to leave. Literally.
And so when we had that conversation, it was like Henry's like, wait, what? You nah. So I was like, well, we have to figure something out. And then that's when we decided, okay, maybe we should talk to somebody.
Yeah. Like a neutral third party because she's explaining stuff to me. I'm not getting it and I'm trying to explain stuff to her. She like, I ain't getting it. That don't matter right now. So we needed that we needed that third party.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's how we ended up in marriage counseling.
Hmm. So now check this out. This is like the second time we're in like post marital counseling,
Right.
um, which is interesting because a lot of times couples they go through premarital counseling, and well, it should be you should. I recommend that to any married couple or any couple to go through married premarital counseling, right? It just helps to know what you're getting into, know what you're who you're dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
what may come in the future, what how you should prepare yourself mentally, because you just never know. And I just think it's just smart. And then when you go through post counseling, it's because either something happened or you hit a roadblock and you don't know how to get past it, which is us at that point.
Yeah. So it was counseling was very eye opening too. It like brought up a lot of stuff that we didn't even know we were going there for.
Mm.
It was like it's the funny thing is so now that I'm like have experience with therapy, um I feel like we had a good counselor, but I feel like she wasn't like great for us.
What do you mean?
So so what I'm learning now is like you can kind of like interview your counselors, like see if they're the right fit for you.
Mm.
And I feel like she was good as far as like cuz we didn't stay. Remember like after we kind of felt like we resolved it, we didn't go back. We only went like 5 or 6 times.
It was that many?
Well, I think so, but like we were supposed to go, I think it was like a minimum of 10, but we didn't go all the times. We ended up like not going back, and I believe that's because she didn't really like
Fix it?
she did her job, but she didn't like I feel like we didn't feel connected to her.
Mm.
And I feel like now that I've have more experience with therapy, like you kind of have to like make sure you have a connection with your therapist.
Yeah. I feel like she could have maybe digged a little more, but I don't necessarily know if that's like the job of a therapist. Like, cause they're not. I don't think they dig. They just like give us the opportunity to dig up for ourselves, so we can like find
Yeah.
out things.
I mean, I agree, but I'm saying like I feel like we probably maybe I'm not blaming anyone honestly, but I'm saying that we didn't go back and I feel like we should have continued and we didn't. We just
Mm.
kind of felt like okay, we answered that question. Now let's that's it. Where I feel like there was more work that could have been done.
I got you. Like, so we were definitely exploring some things that we didn't know was dormant within our relationships that came up
Mhm.
and came out, and it was explained, and we cried, we apologized to each other. Like, I think for her, she was like, good. We could have been like a early, not early, but you know how some people are like the beginning of somebody's career, like they don't have enough experience
No,
yet.
that she had
You don't think so?
experience. No, she had experience. I remember. But anyway, so the whole regardless of what, we were able to resolve the issue.
Yeah.
And so that's why we always say we definitely advocate for therapy. Like don't be ashamed to like bring in a neutral party to try to like help you through your whatever you're going through in your marriage, especially if it's worth saving, you know.
Yeah.
So we definitely were able to get past that. It didn't necessarily, and it's interesting. It's like it's weird. It's kind of like when someone is upset and like, but there's multiple things that just keep piling on each other. It almost was like what therapy did for us was like help us clean up the pile.
Mm.
So like we were able to kind of like get through multiple things that we weren't aware that, you know, and I feel like the him working in the pregnancy was almost like the top of the pile. But we were able to kind of like dig through the pile a little bit more.
Mm.
So maybe I need to eat my words. Maybe she did, you know, do a good job. I just feel like even though we got through the pile, I feel like we still could have done more work because I feel like it didn't necessarily like go away. We kind of found ourselves kind of
We, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna use it as an analogy. Like we folded the clothes, but we ain't put them up.
yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wait, I got something else too. So remember, I tried to like incorporate this rule that was broken like immediately with therapy. I was like, okay, let's promise to when we go to therapy, not to talk about it after. Like we only gonna discuss therapy in that hour and not gonna talk about like anything later because I was coming like my mentality on that was like if we talk about it later, it's gonna be like no referee in the ring for whatever happens, and it could get ugly, and I didn't want it to get ugly.
I don't remember it being broken immediately. I think it worked a couple times and
When we
then
got in the car, and I said it, and we was like, we're not gonna talk about it. We was like, okay, and then he was like, so what happened? We
no,
immediately started talking about it.
not the first time we went. I think that happened like maybe the third time. By the third time we weren't able to like not contain it, but that was a very like good rule that we probably should have tried to stick to a little bit more because like you said, when you start like bringing other stuff up outside of that neutral environment, it almost is like counterproductive. Like you start arguing again about whole new things.
Hmm.
um
Maybe I should have said, let's incorporate like our takeaways from the session together that helped us. Like you go to a conference, you be like, what's your takeaway?
mhm
You know what I'm saying? Maybe instead of like presenting like, let's not talk about it, because that's gonna automatically go to a point that we want to bring out in therapy that we couldn't, or
mhm
you know what I'm saying, we couldn't vocalize.
I don't know. I mean, I think that it was a good idea. We did it a couple times and then we didn't see it through. But I almost feel like that's something that we have to be careful of, like in marriage and relationships. Like if we put like something out there and we both agree we're going to do it, we need to see it through. Like, and I feel like we kind of like with life and being busy and all the things, we have all these excuses to why certain things are not seen through to the end. And I feel like that can create a lot of like indifference, tension in a marriage too, because one person is kind of looking at the other like, well, you're the reason we didn't see it through, or, you know,
Mm.
and I mean that for a multitude of things. I don't mean that for just like therapy. I mean that for like goals that you set together, like plans that you make. Like if you both put together a plan, you should probably assign like responsibilities to that plan, to who's responsible for it. Because if you don't see it through, I feel like those are some of the things that kind of start to create that pile of clothes on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, they didn't do this, so we never got that done, or they didn't. And I feel like a lot of marriages kind of like go through that whole like we made all these plans and then they never happen. Like not seeing plans through, I feel like is like second to like finances and what destroys marriages. Like you have to be able to work as a team to complete goals, and if you're not doing that, I feel like that definitely brings like anger, whatever, resentment into your marriage.
Absolutely, that's a tough one because y'all working together, but sometimes it could work against you. Like, who's the goal setter, but who's the goal getter? The goal getter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I get exactly what you're saying with assign the role parts. Like, I think that needs to be clear, and I think the reason why some marriages are not where they should be or where they want to be is because somebody maybe took on too much they could handle. Like, they didn't just do their job. Like, you
I
got
don't
your
know. I don't know if it's that black and white, but I just think that
it,
there.
it can be. It
Mm,
ain't got to be extras. Like, you just said assigning roles.
yeah, but I'm saying, but you said something totally different. Like, I feel like even sometimes we make plans and we assign roles, and then people don't fulfill their assignments. So I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's that black and white. I feel like there's a many ways that we don't complete like goals that we have in a marriage or complete whatever it is that you have in front of you. The point of all of this is I feel like what I learned from that experience is that because we didn't finish it, there was some things that were still left that we didn't get through. And throughout our marriage, I feel like there's things that we have like started and didn't finish, or and then it kind of like leads to resentment. Like, okay, here's another thing, or not really wanting to hear the other person because you're like, okay, you're talking again, but I don't see nothing happening. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I get it.
Anyways, so that was our year 3.5, y'all. So I think next week we should probably dig more into year 4 when the little girl arrives.
Don't call her the little girl, my baby.
She's a little girl though. Okay. Anyways, y'all. Thank y'all so much for listening, taking this journey into our 10 years. We really appreciate y'all. Bye.
Peace.